Critical race theory is not taught in elementary schools or middle schools or high schools.
That's great news. That's very exciting. I bet Bill's going to be excited to hear this. Joining me now, Bill Jacobson, Cornell University law professor and founder of the great Equal Protection Project. Bill, I'm so excited to hear that critical race theory is not in American schools. I bet you're excited to hear that too.
Yeah, so why are they pushing it so hard? Why did the National Education Association pass a resolution at its annual meeting saying it should be in every school? So the same people who say it's not being taught say it should be taught, and it is being taught. So Randy Weingarten's group, American Federation for Teachers, created a legal defense fund to protect teachers who are teaching critical race theory in K through 12. Why do they need a legal defense fund if it's not being taught? So it's just a word game and it's a shell game by them. Of course it's being taught.
Bill, how is this presented in law? And I ask this because law and medicine are the two fields that have me honestly terrified right now because they're such critical fields. We have to have law, we have to have medicine, and they're fields where this stuff is coming in hard.
Yeah, well, if you want to know medical-wise, so we've tracked this. It's in virtually every medical school, and it reveals itself in terms of prioritization of treatment based on race. They presume that if you have a certain skin color, that you are either disadvantaged or advantaged in your life. Therefore, you get favorable treatment when it comes to medication. In the law, it's unfortunately becoming the same thing. If you want to know what it looks like, read the dissent by Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Students for Fair Admissions case, the affirmative action case. Her dissent is basically a primer on critical race theory. It's looking at outcomes not based on the individual, which is the way the law has always focused on things, but it's looking at it based on group outcomes. So when somebody comes into a courtroom, you say, well, how has their group done? How that will determine how they get treated, as opposed to, has this person individually, as an individual human being, been treated fairly? And that's how it works. And that's increasingly finding its way into the legal system.
Randy Weingarten had this to say. I found this to be very revealing.
Those same words that you heard in terms of wanting segregation post Brown v. Board of Education, those same words you hear today. It's not, I was kind of gobsmacked when I was talking to Southern Poverty Law Center, and they showed me the same words: choice, parental rights, and attempt to divide parents versus teachers. And that point, it was white parents versus other parents. But it's the same kind of word.
Bill, these people do think they're the good guys, right? Or are they just evil masterminds who lie about all this? Do they really see themselves as being, the anti-segregationists?
Well, I think they view themselves as the good guys and the good gals here, but it's a warped view of things. I mean, where is school choice and where is homeschooling spreading the fastest? The largest percentage growth in schooling parents are in the Black community. Those are the people who, more than any other group in the country, are saying the public schools are failing our children. So if you look at public schools, and we look at a lot of them, and you look at where there is de facto segregation, where they have affinity groups, where they separate out Black teachers from white teachers, where they separate out Black children from white children or Asian children. It's always the people like Randy Weingarten who are doing it. It's not the other parents. It's not the people who say we want to give people choice. Choice is a matter of freedom, school freedom, and it has nothing to do with segregation. What it had to do 80 years ago, 100 years ago, maybe that was different. I don't know. But in 2023, the school choice movement is a multiracial, cross-racial movement to free children from the tyranny of people like Randy Weingarten.
Bill, this student push, are students going left with these professors, or I should say as hard as these professors are, or are you starting to see some pushback against this from students who maybe not even right wingers, but they just want to get on college campus and they just want to go to school, law school.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think, at least in my own experience, my own observations, which I think are borne out by surveys, the faculty is more uniform in its leftism than the students are. Yes, it's absolutely true. Compared to 30 or 40 years ago, students have moved to the left, but not nearly as much as the faculty. At Cornell, where I teach, and at almost every higher tiered school, the faculty is a monoculture of leftism, of progressivism. The students are not that way. There's far more diversity of viewpoint among college students than there are among college professors or college administrators, who are just as bad as the professors. So, and I think there is a backlash. I think there is a pushback. I think the students, or at least many of them, are a lot smarter than we give them credit for. They understand what's going on. They may feel powerless to fight against it. They've kind of got to go with the flow. But yes, I think students completely understand what the game is now with the professors and with the administrators. And they just want to survive and get out of college or get out of law school without nasty things being said about them on the internet that could damage their job prospects.
Doesn't that doom us in the end, though? And I'm not blaming them for it, but doesn't it doom us in the end if people really just want to get out and keep their head down and their mouth shut and get out without taking any flack? And you have such an aggressive left that's going to give them flack. Isn't that a losing game for us?
Well, it may be, yeah. I mean, I can't say that it's not. I think individuals need to make choices for their own lives. And I never criticize an individual who's fearful of losing a job. I never said, well, you should have spoken out and lost your job. You know, there are tens of millions of people in this country who live paycheck to paycheck. They cannot afford to lose their job. There are other people who do have an ability to speak out. And I'm one of those people, and you're one of those people. And those of us who are able to speak out need to do so. We can't rely on others. But yes, as a societal matter, and I think the internet has fed into this perhaps more than anything, the fear of being targeted, the fear of having your life destroyed by some internet mob that's going to track down your employer, going to track down your neighbors, going to harass your family members. It does have a very chilling effect. And I don't know what the answer is to that, except for more people to get the courage to speak out.
Do you think it's going to have a chilling effect on the Supreme Court, Bill? Look, these are human beings. They're flesh and blood human beings. I don't know any of them, but obviously for most people, they're just characters you see on the TV screen or in an article somewhere. Well, there have been already assassination attempts, loud protests in front of their homes. These are people with families. How can that not sway somebody?
I think it has to. I mean, and that's been a tactic that is not new. You remember during the Obamacare debate in 2012, Barack Obama and other Democrat politicians put a lot of pressure on the Supreme Court. And reportedly, we don't know it for a fact, but reportedly that swayed John Roberts to vote for Obamacare, to find that it was a tax. It was authorized by the tax provisions, taxing code of the Constitution. So that is a pressure tactic, and the left uses it very well. So absolutely, the things that are going on now with organized campaigns to organize protesters outside justices' houses, I mean, that's really unprecedented. And I know it's a point you've made a lot. The left uses everything at their disposal to shut down opposition. And if that means sending protesters to a Supreme Court justice's home, they're going to do it. If that means attacking people on the internet, like they're doing now with Clarence Thomas and Alito, this campaign claiming they're corrupt when they're not, they will use everything they have. And the right is just not as effective at pushing back. I'm not saying we're not effective at all, but not as effective as the left.
How much like them do you think we need to be? Obviously, we need to adopt some of their tactics. They took over every institution, and we are here with no institutional power left. So clearly we need to do some of the things they've done.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the dilemma we face, because we want to do the right thing. We want to be the good guys, and we don't want to emulate these people. They have no such compunctions. I don't think they sit around saying, oh, well, if we do something, the Republicans might do it back to us. I don't think they care about that. So, yeah, it's a dilemma. And do you give up your own principles just to survive. And I think a lot of people on our side are coming to the position that, yes, we can't be the choir boys here. We can't be the ones who are the only ones living up to the rules. I think that we need to
Yeah,
hold
we
the
gotta,
other side to rules.
yeah, we got to push back on them. Bill, thank you, sir. I appreciate you very much.